Ever get to the end of a long day, you look at your to-do list, and you just feel like you were spinning your wheels? You were busy for sure, but were you actually productive? Well, let's dive in, because we're about to totally flip that struggle on its head. It's that hamster wheel feeling, right? You're just constantly running, but you're not really getting anywhere. Answering emails, jumping between tasks, putting out little fires, it's completely exhausting, and a lot of the time, it doesn't move the needle on the things that actually matter. If that sounds familiar, you are definitely in good company. It's kind of a modern paradox. But here's the thing. The answer isn't to just hustle harder or cram more hours into your day. In fact, the real solution might actually surprise you. It turns the whole idea of productivity upside down. So here's our game plan for this explainer. First, we're going to bust the big myth of hustle culture and the productivity paradox. Then, we'll look at your integrated toolkit, reframing some common tools for a brand new purpose. After that, we'll get into how to build a truly resilient system with habits and boundaries. And finally, we'll cover the super important topic of knowing when to ask for help. All right, first up, let's tackle the big misunderstanding that's at the very heart of modern work, the productivity paradox. We're going to kick things off by breaking down the myth that being busy is the same thing as being effective.
So the old myth, right? The one that leads straight to burnout, is that putting in more hours automatically equals more results. But the reality? It's so much smarter than that. It's not about the quantity of your time. It's all about the quality of your energy. Better energy and focus, that's what leads to better impact.
And this quote from one of our sources, Tooth Fairy, just nails it. Maximizing hours isn't the goal. Maximizing impact is. And here's the kicker. Personal well-being isn't some separate thing you do on the weekend. It's the fuel for top-tier professional performance. They're two sides of the very same coin.
So if well-being is the fuel, how do we actually build it into our day-to-day? Well, that brings us to our integrated toolkit. We're going to look at some productivity tools you probably already know, but we're going to see them through a totally new lens. Now this is where it all just clicks into place. We usually think of these tools in just one way, but look at them through a well-being lens. The Pomodoro technique? It isn't just for focus, it's a burnout prevention tool. The Eisenhower matrix isn't just for prioritizing, it's for slashing the mental stress of indecision. And time blocking? It doesn't just structure your day for output, it creates a predictable environment that calms the anxiety of a chaotic schedule. Isn't that a fascinating way to think about it? Same tools, powerful dual purpose. Let's zoom in on one of these for a second. The Eisenhower matrix. This thing is an absolute game changer for reducing stress. It's a simple framework that makes you ask two really powerful questions about every single thing on your list. Is this urgent? And is this truly important? So, quadrant 1, that's for the immediate fires you have to put out. It's really easy to get addicted to the adrenaline rush here, but trust me, living in this quadrant is the fast track to burnout. Quadrant 3? Those are the urgent but not important interruptions you should try to delegate. Quadrant 4 is just for pure distractions. Get rid of them. But the real secret to getting off the hamster wheel? It's living in Quadrant 2. This is where real, sustainable progress happens. And that's the whole point. When you proactively schedule time for these Quadrant 2 activities, like long-term planning or learning a new skill, you're preventing future crises. It shifts you from being reactive and stressed out to being proactive and in control. The other key tool here is the Pomodoro technique. It's so simple. You work with intense focus for 25 minutes. Then, and this is non-negotiable, you have to take a 5-minute break. This structure not only maximizes your focus, it forces you to recharge, which preserves your mental energy throughout the day. It's a rhythm for both productivity and well-being. Okay, so we've got the tools, but tools are pretty useless if they just sit in the toolbox, right? How do we make them a consistent part of our lives? Well, that's where we need to build a resilient system, one that's founded on powerful habits and really clear boundaries. You know, it's easy to think that resilience comes from these big, heroic efforts. But the truth is, it's built from the small, almost boringly consistent things you do every single day. These tiny habits are the foundation of a system that can handle stress and keep you moving forward. A fantastic way to build these habits is a technique called habit stacking. The formula is just beautifully simple. You anchor a new habit you want to build onto a habit you already do without thinking. After I pour my morning coffee, I will meditate for 1 minute. It works because the old habit acts as a trigger for the new one, so you don't have to rely on willpower or memory. Another powerful little principle is the 2-minute rule. If a task pops up and you know you can do it in less than 2 minutes, just do it right then and there. The power of this is that it prevents the buildup of what I call mental clutter. You know, all those tiny open loops that quietly sap your energy and focus all day long. But building a resilient system isn't just about adding new habits. It's also about subtraction. It's about what you choose not to do and what you choose not to let in. And that means setting boundaries. Boundaries are the essential limits we set to protect our resources. This could be a time boundary, like saying, I don't check emails after 7 p.m., or an emotional boundary, like choosing not to get pulled into workplace gossip. They aren't walls to keep people out. They're more like guidelines that signal respect for yourself and allow for healthy relationships that don't leave you feeling totally drained.
We've covered some really powerful tools, but our final section is, you could argue, the most important one, because these systems are for maintenance and resilience, and it is absolutely vital to know when self-care just isn't enough.
Let's be very, very clear. The strategies we've been talking about are like exercise and healthy eating for your mind. They are for building and maintaining well-being. They are not, however, a substitute for professional medical care when you're dealing with a clinical issue. So, what are the red flags? Well, the sources are clear. We're talking about persistent sadness or anxiety that just hangs on for 2 weeks or more. A real decline in your ability to handle work or just daily life. Major changes in your sleep or your appetite. These aren't things to just push through. They are signs that you may need more support. And please remember, reaching out to a professional is a sign of incredible strength.
So the whole point we keep coming back to is this. You don't chase productivity to hopefully achieve well-being. It's the other way around. When you prioritize and you actively manage your mental well-being, sustainable, high-impact productivity follows naturally. It's a byproduct of a healthy system.
And that leaves us with one final thought to chew on. We spend so much time optimizing our to-do lists. But what if the most important item on that list wasn't a to-do at all? What if it was a to-be? To be rested, to be focused, to be well. What would change if you started there?